What's going on, guys? JPB Duel here. Hope you guys are enjoying your Friday. And for today's matchup, we have an Adventure Pranks versus an Adventure Pranks with my opponent playing Adventure Pranks going first. Yes, this is a mirror matchup. Yes, it is an exciting gameplay. And yes, again, I am going second. Now, I preemptively Artifact Lancia him, which my opponent decides to call by the grave, which is okay with me. Sadly, I did not have any Ash Blossom or Maxi to hand trap my opponent with, so my opponent goes full combo. Now, I am going to fast forward my opponent's turn because, again, it's a Prank Kids combo. It's going to take a long time for this combo to go through. I do not want to add extra minutes to my replay. So they do the standard combo with going through two doodle-doos. Usually people go through two doodle-doos over going through Rocket Ride with Pandemonium because it locks you into Prank Kids monsters only once you use your Pandemonium. So with this, if they run Instant Fusion, they have the leeway of going into a combo extension afterwards if they want to do it so. So with this Roxy's Banish plus draw, my opponent ends up drawing a Fateful Adventure. So he activates it, searches for the Enchantress, discards it, banishes it, gets a copy of the right, and activates it. Now, if he had gone through the Pandemonium Rocket Ride route, he would not have been able to do this combo this way because, again, you get locked into Prank Kids monsters only. So there are pros and cons towards doing the combo with 2 or with Rocket Ride. Usually people decide to go with Rocket Ride over 2. Now my draw phase, I draw into a Dark Ruler. Now this is where it comes into handy when you run 2 copies of Pandemonium. And as I said in my decklist video, I do run 2 copies of Pandemonium because in mirror matchup, it becomes an extremely crucial card to kill your opponent's combo completely. So my draw phase, he activates Bow Wow, tributes, gets the card he requires for the Butler combo into his hand. I do not do anything to this, nor can I do anything to this. Main phase 1, we start by activating our Enchantress, to which he links his Pandemonium. Now, right here, the Pandemonium play would have been putting the Butler on the field, which would have killed me off completely. But since I run 2 copies of Pandemonium, I can use my crossout to banish one and still use the other one to go into my combo. It does not restrict me. So I activate crossout, we cross out the Pandemonium, so he cannot put the Butler on the field, effectively not being able to affect us in our turn. So I get my right, we activate right. My opponent did have something that he could activate, but he was choosing not to activate it, so we just decided to go into our combo. Pretty standard combo. We do our chain block mechanisms with our Fateful Adventure, search for Draco. I'm not gonna, comment on the whole combo itself. You guys know how the combo works, so I'm gonna fast forward my own combo as well. Again, don't want to add any extra minutes to the video. We get the Griffin ride, we put the Griffin on the field, get our Omni that way, so in case he wants to nib us, can't nib us anymore, and then we get our Doodle-Doo activation. Now here was the thing where I was thinking, do I want to do a 2-card full combo, or do I want to just do a 1-card combo and go into my full combo? Do I even want to go into Roxy's? So I decided, you know what, why not? I will go into Roxy's. My opponent decided to imperm my Griffin, so I decided, why not? I will just use my Griffin, negate, and bounce it. Because if he wanted to nib me afterwards, I would still be able to get the Griffin on my next turn, plus a token if I can draw into Enchantress or a right. So that's the reason why I wanted to bounce my Griffin. Now with the Prank Kids pranks at the end of my turn, I ended up drawing into my Griffin. This is pretty huge, okay? I had a Maxi plus a Griffin, both cards that can help me out my opponent's turn so easily, and I will be able to put a Butler on the field as well on my opponent's turn if my Bow Wow Bark activation goes through. Now I decided not to attack into him because 2k defense, 2k attack can't kill the fancies, so I was okay with that. And this guy, I believe, was running only 1 copy of Pandemonium, which would hurt him. He had to go into his Doodle-Doo, tribute Doodle-Doo, to get the Pandemonium from his graveyard into his hand to even go into his combo, which would have been game-changing if he had another Pandemonium, because he could have used that Pandemonium to go into Butler on his turn. That would have been ridiculous. It would have killed me off, most likely. So, let's see what the opponent does. Draw phase, he ends up drawing a card. We instantly maxi him because we know he's playing Prank Kids. He decides to cross out the maxi. I'm okay with that. I was hoping for him to use the cross out to negate that, so this way, he cannot negate our Wandering Griffin Omni. Once he goes into Meow Moo, obviously, we are going to be putting the Griffin on the field. He chain blocks, we don't care. I end up putting my Griffin on the field at this point. You cannot use Pandemonium and then put Griffin on the field. No, you're logged into Prank Kids only. So you first have to put Griffin, then go into Pandemonium. This is one of those rare times, and I mean extremely rare times, where you wanna save your Bow Wow Bark activation till your opponent's main phase. Why? It's because you wanna play around your opponent's Call by the Grave. If I had activated Bow Wow Bark on my opponent's draw phase, and if he had Call by the Grave my Bow Wow, that means I could not go into my Butler. So the reason why I waited is because I wanted to get the Griffin Omni on the field first, then go into my Bow Wow Bark activation. So in case he had a call by or a way to negate my Bow Wow, I would have been able to use my Griffin Omni to negate his negate. That way, it would have been a guaranteed Butler combo for me. So you have to think in advance if you want to make plays like this. Again, extremely rare situation. Usually, you want to pop your Bow Wow on your opponent's draw phase, not wait till main phase. Because some Prank Kids players, they do run one copy of Kaiju. So be extremely careful when you want to do it this way. Once we get the Bow Wow, obviously we end up going into our Pandemonium. I put the Butler in the extra monster zone because I was being greedy. I wanted to get all 3 of my Prank Kids activation from the graveyard and 3 cards on the field as well. So I needed the 3 spots, that's why I put the Butler in the extra monster zone. We get our graveyard activations, activate our Butler, Butler pops his field, and then we get our graveyard activation. And as you guys know, I'm going to be ending up putting 2 copies of Dropsies on the field to go into Totally Awesome instantly on my next turn. He activates his Faithful, searches for the Enchantress, discards the Enchantress, activates it. I was hoping for him to not have a Griffin in his hand, and even if he had it, I could have negated it with my own Griffin. At this point, I was not negating any of this. I don't care about this happening. Next up, he tries to go into a token. So this gets me to thinking, maybe this guy is running 2 copies of Link Spiders, so maybe he wants to go into Link Spider, into Purple Amberty Anaconda, make his play that way. Obviously, we don't want that to happen. And Prank Kids Pranks is one of the cards you can use to recycle your cards. The other one being Prank Kids Plan, but I don't think this guy was running Prank Kids Plan anyways. So I decided to not wait and use my Butler pop. I decided I will use my Griffin Omni, negate the pranks, and effectively pop the pranks. That way, he cannot recycle in his next turn. Now keep in mind this guy still had his normal summon, so now he goes into Link Spider, goes into normal summon of Dropsies, which again we pop using our Butler. Our Butler is gone. Now he goes into his actual play at the end, which turned out to be a Fusion Destiny into DPE. Now keep in mind this deck of my own, I do not run DPE because I believe those cards that brick you, the Gardens of DPE, are extremely bad. And it has served me well so far of not having DPE. You still win games easily with your Ghost second cards like Dark Ruler and Evenly Matched. So he kills one of the worst cards he can, which was the Fancies. The worst card would have been attacking into my token. The second worst card would have been my Fancies. This is the point where I actually clutched my hair, and I was like, bro, you are playing Prank Kids. Do you not know what 2 Dropsies go into? It's gonna be a guaranteed totally on the field because he cannot pop my cards this turn. Yes, he can pop it on the next standby phase, but that means I just kill him outright if he pops his DPE. So this was like one of the worst plays he could have made. If I put my Totally Awesome on the field, that means his DPE is gone. He activates his DPE, pops the Faithful to pop my Adventure token. Don't care about that either. I draw into an Evenly Match. Now this is an extremely nasty combo you can throw in your opponent's face if you are going second. Extremely nasty combo. But since I have more cards, can't do it this way right now. my opponent decides to, you know what? I am not going to activate DP on standby phase to pop one of my opponent's dropsies. And as I said before, it's a guaranteed totally awesome, guaranteed negate on DPE, and I will end up yoinking that DPE for myself if I activate totally on that. Now this scenario would have been completely different if I had drawn into a combo starter card. If I had drawn into a combo starter card, this would have been a guaranteed toad on the field, and I would be using the toad to stare him down in the face to try to activate his to make him try to activate his DP for me to yoink it. But since I did not draw into it, I cannot go into totally awesome. So we activate Faithful, search for the Enchantress, go into our token with the Enchantress searching for our right. Then I use one card on the field to try to go into my combo. He uses DPE to pop the token. We don't care about that either. As I told you guys, I can't go totally cannot push over this card. So we go into our combo. I'm gonna fast forward my combo. It's gonna be a standard combo, but I still end up going into totally. I'll show you guys how, but I'm gonna do it that way. By the way, I still have my normal summon. So with the Duel Tribute, we get the Butler back, plus we get the Dropsies in our hand. So that way I have two level 2 Aqua monsters on the field. That equals totally awesome. Now, totally awesome, still, I would say, you know, can't kill over this card because DPE is not negated. It's gonna make my totally awesome's attack go down to 1.8k. So what do I do to play around that? Because I want my opponent to pop his DPE. I want to pop it. I want it to go to the graveyard so that way I could use totally awesome, negate it at this point. So I use my Dark Ruler, negate the DPE's effect of making my totally awesome lose 400 attack points, go into battle phase, kill off the DPE. He activates DPE, obviously we're going to use totally awesome, negate that. But since it was not on the field, it was not destroyed, hence we cannot yoink that card. But that's okay, DPE is never going to come back anymore. We activate the totally awesome, get the drops into our hand, end my turn. Sorry, I go into my pranks, into my token, go into Link Spider, and go into Predaplant Verti Anaconda to go into my Butler. That was the whole play I had mapped out in my head. I make my opponent's field completely wiped out. He only has one card in his hand. He does have the Celestial draw, but it's a Prankets player. So once he commits to his normal summon, if we Butler and kill it, he's pretty much dead afterwards anyways. So my whole play was negating the DPE, going into my Predaplant with my Pranks activation, getting a token, going into Link Spider, going into my Butler with my Predaplant. And since I have Meowmoo in the graveyard, I believe I had one copy, I could still get 2 Butler pops. At the end, we activate Pranks, boost up our cards, activate Pranks, recycle 3. Now look at the cards I recycled. I did not recycle my Meowmoo, even though I only run 2 Meowmoo, and Meowmoo is a combo, it's a card you need for the combo ladder for prank kids. But I said, you know what, since he only has one, I'll take the risk, I'll pop his field, and if he has nothing else, we win the game outright. So I left it in the graveyard. He draws into Ash Blossom, which he decides to put on the field using his Dasher. Obviously, we are not going to pop his field, so once he normals out Lanceys, I use my first pop his field, and this just makes him surrender outright. So again guys, mirror matchup, the crossout comes in handy with 2 Pandemoniums. Also, Dark Ruler comes in handy going second as well. That's going to be the end of the game guys. If you guys do enjoy this kind of videos, please consider hitting the like button, subbing to my channel for more daily prank video uploads, and if you guys are interested in the live version of all of this, I do live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/jpbduel. Link along with my schedule and a link to my Discord will be in the video description itself for you guys to check out. This is JPBDuel signing out for today. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace!